Back here, first things first, let's talk Super 6 NFL playoffs. So one of the questions for the Packers-Niners game is which team will win and by how many points. Nick, what are you thinking?
Going with the upset, Packers-Chiefs for my preseason Super Bowl prediction. I'm certainly not abandoning it now when we are this close. But if the Packers do win, it's going to be very close. So the smallest margin I can pick is Packers by 4 or less. So Packers by 4 or less is my pick, Chris Canty.
I really wish you didn't go that way because I feel that same way about the game, and I know you're not very good at this game. But I'm going with the same prediction, Packers by 4 or less. I think Aaron Rodgers pulls it off in a squeaker in the Bay Area.
Do you just imply I haven't been good at Super 6 this year?
Well, by your own admission, you haven't been good.
I haven't lived up to my own lofty standards.
You haven't been great at Super 6 this year.
What is happening?
Sorry.
What are you? I'm sorry. I'm
effort.
sorry. I'm yet to win the $250,000 or the $25,000. However,
Still love you.
However,
Still love you.
Not thank you, but not interested. What is more important? I'm winning it this week.
He's something else.
He says that every week, Jenna.
Before the Packers and 49ers kick off, I know, Kenny. Believe me, I know. It's okay.
Week 20.
Before they kick off on Sunday, download the Fox Sports Super 6 app. Play for free for a chance to win
$25,000. I've got it on my phone, and I'm winning.
Week 20?
Yeah, week 20. It's
That's the
20th
Super Bowl.
week. No, it's the right.
Oh, that's the right now. Yep, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Time for stories to start your morning.
Never been strong suit.
Never. Sponsored by Sprint. Switch today.
No.
Nick, yesterday an arrest warrant was issued for Odell Beckham in response to video showing OBJ slapping the backside of a stadium security guard. This following video of OBJ handing out cash to LSU players.
Okay.
What do you make of this latest development with OBJ?
Get your board, Nick. Get your board, man.
All right.
Keep doing this,
I'm
Nick.
going to try. So, all right. Both things here can be true. I don't know this security guard, but we've all had an interaction with a security guard like this. Nobody likes this guy. He wants to search the bags of the players he's there to ostensibly protect. He's telling guys who just won a championship in their home state, indoor smoking laws apply here. Give me a break. Stop it. With that said, Odell, you literally, in this instance, are the grown-up in the room. It's a bunch of college kids, and you're the one acting the most a fool. I defended you yesterday, and I will continue to on the money thing. But one of my biggest defenses was we give Odell this hard time. Never been arrested. Never been in any real trouble. And now he's caught on Snapchat or IG slapping somebody's backside like they just hit a game-winning field goal. Now, do I think that should get a warrant for your arrest? No. But even absent of the warrant being issued, this is a terrible look for Odell. And the more videos that come out, including him trying to post up Karl Malone in the post game, him commandeering the megaphone during the game, like Odell was on one at the championship game, and it
literally and figuratively,
and it culminates in this moment. Not great. And for folks who have spent a lot of time defending you, Odell, you're making it a touch harder than I would like it to be.
After all of that, there's nothing else to say, Jay.
Yeah, can't agree.
Nothing else to say.
On to the Cowboys now. The newly hired Mike McCarthy.
Edelman argument was such a good one, and then you got arrested the day later.
I wanted to call you yesterday. It says that retained offensive coordinator Kellen Moore will indeed continue to call plays next season. So Dallas actually led the NFL in yards in 2019. Kenny, you like the idea of McCarthy saying that Kellen Moore is going to be calling plays for the Cowboys next year?
No, Jenna, I don't like the idea because it feels like Jerry Jones once again overstepping. I mean, he did this once upon a time when Wade Phillips was the head coach. He mandated that Jason Garrett be on the staff as the offensive coordinator. As a matter of fact, Jason Garrett was hired before Wade Phillips was hired, and that didn't work out too well. It feels like more of the same with Jerry. If you think Mike McCarthy is the guy to take you to the Super Bowl, if you have that kind of conviction about him, especially with him being an offensive coach, give him the autonomy to decide what he wants to do with the staff and the play calling duties.
I agree with nearly all of that. The only defense I'll have of Jerry Jones in this is I would be very shocked if this came as a surprise to Mike McCarthy. I think this was handled in the interview process. Just so you know, if we offer you this job, this is a prerequisite, and Mike McCarthy signed off on it. So I would imagine. I don't know that for sure, but that's how it would make sense to me. Doesn't mean it's the right decision. Doesn't mean it's a smart decision, but I don't think McCarthy's being blindsided by this. I think he acquiesced because he wants to coach the Dallas Cowboys. But to your point, is this putting the Dallas Cowboys in the best position position to make their first conference championship game in a quarter century? Probably not.
From what we saw from the introductory press conference, Mike McCarthy was going to say whatever it took to get the job.
That's true.
Period.
Absolutely.
Back to Jimmy Garoppolo now in the 49ers. For the first time in his 6-year career, Jimmy G played all 16 games. Remember back in 2018, his season was cut short because of a torn ACL. But listen to the silver lining Jimmy found when looking back.
Things have a way of working out, and so I always told myself it was a blessing in disguise, you know, the ACL and everything, and yeah, we got both out of it, so I mean, that's a pretty good trade-off, I guess. But it's yeah, things have a way of working out, I guess. Just this ride is crazy.
Indeed. All right, Chris, what do you think is the bigger key to the Niners win? Jimmy Garoppolo or their defense against Aaron Rodgers?
Well, I think Jimmy Garoppolo is the bigger key just because there's more variance in terms of what you're going to get from him game to game. We know what we're going to get from the 49ers defense. It's one of the best defenses in the National Football League. They're really good on third down. I think they were second this year, only allowing opposing teams to convert 33% of the time. So, I mean, that 49ers defense, we know they can get after it up front, and the guys in the secondary can hold up in coverage. So the biggest question is what you're going to get from Jimmy G in the passing game, because you know Kyle Shanahan, he wants to run that same outside zone scheme that his father ran in Denver for all of those years, won them a couple of championships. But we're going to have to see their quarterback be able to make some plays in the passing game in order to get them to the Super Bowl. The question is, can Jimmy G avoid making the critical mistakes, and can he make the requisite throws that are going to be available to him throughout the course of this game? Can he take advantage of those moments? Right. That's the thing that we don't know.
See, and so the reason that I think it's the Niners defense is actually a similar logical path as yours in picking Jimmy Garoppolo, in that I feel like we kind of do know what we're going to get from Jimmy Garoppolo. I understand he had a couple great games this year. So,
including against the Packers.
He was very good against the Packers. That one, to me, that wasn't even one of his two best games, though, because they were in such an advantageous position in that game. But the back-and-forth game against New Orleans, he was sensational. And Week 17 against Seattle, where they could have gone from the 1 seed to the 5 seed, he was quite good as well. So I'm not saying it's impossible for him to have a great game, but I think what is much more likely against this Packers defense in the most pressurized situation of his career is that he has a Jimmy Garoppolo-ish game, meaning a little over 200 yards, throws a pick, throws a touchdown, that he's fine, that he's not great, that he's not awful. What is going to determine, to me, this game for the Niners is, can the Niners defense do what we saw it do the first half of the year, what we saw it do in Week 12 against Green Bay, what we saw it do against Minnesota, which is turn otherwise quality offenses, grind them down to mush. Like, that to me is, I don't think the Niners defense can just play a good game and win this game. I think they got to be great again, because I think the Packers offense is going to be so much better. I think they did learn from their mistakes of Week 12. I think Rodgers is not going to fumble the ball in the opening possession. I think that they are not going to go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, as you've talked about a lot. That is the equivalent to another turnover. I think the Packers are going to learn from their mistakes of Week 12 and have some counters for what the Niners were doing defensively. And when we show those highlights from Week 12, when you watch them on this show or on Undisputed The Herd, we're all going to show a lot of the same Aaron Rodgers sacks. What happens a lot is the right side of the offensive line collapses, and Rodgers has to move, or when he's moving to his right, there's somebody already there. That is in part because, like what you see right there, that is a sack from the right side of the offensive line. What you see right here is he comes over there, and by the way, well, that's everybody getting him. But this next one, you're going to see, again, pressure on the right side of the offensive line. That's not Brian Bulaga, right? Yep. You know, and so Brian Bulaga is their second best offensive lineman next to David Bakhtiari, their left tackle. How much will the Niners be able to counter that? Will they move some of those guys to the inside? Will they run some stunts in games? Because the Packers are going to be in better position to defend the Niners' strength, their pass rush, than they were in the Week 12 matchup.
Yeah, but the Niners' pass rush is actually also going to get a boost from the regular season matchup because D4 didn't play in that game. So, I mean, as good as I think Brian Bulaga is, he's a lot better than Alex Light, who's their backup right tackle. But I don't think the offensive line for the Packers can hold up in one-on-one pass rush situations consistently throughout this game. Matt LaFleur is going to have an answer to be able to neutralize that defensive front. The answer ain't letting Aaron Rodgers stand 5 yards behind the center and throw the ball and waiting 3 seconds in order for the receivers to get downfield and finish their routes. This is going to have to be a situation where Matt LaFleur moves the pocket. He's also going to have to throw in some screens, throw in some smokes to the wide receivers, things to get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands and out to the perimeter of that 49ers defense quickly. It's going to have to look like basketball on grass to some degree in order to frustrate those rushers from the 49ers, because if the 49ers get you in a game where you've got to drop back to throw the football, then they have a significant advantage, and that defensive line, because they have so many guys that can rush the quarterback, can come at you in waves. The Packers have no interest in repeating what happened in Week 12 when Aaron Rodgers got sacked 5 times. That's why I think Matt LaFleur has to have an answer, and the answer, in my opinion, should be getting the ball out of Rodgers' hands quickly.
All right, we'll switch gears and talk about the AFC on the other side. Is there any way at all the Titans can upset Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs on Sunday? Don't answer, Nick. That is
if they do, I have to get a Derrick Henry tattoo. So let's just...
Where are you getting a Derrick Henry tattoo?
Saturday.